Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles Long. With me, as always, is my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Bluff. How are you doing today, Jacob?
Hello, I'm good. I'm all right. I'm okay.
What are we going to do today? Do you have any idea of what we're doing today?
We, as always, Charles, get together once a week to pitch TV show pilots.
Neither of us have ever missed a week.
Yeah, never. Never once. Never had to double record or any of that stuff. Nope.
Never had to, like, record 2 episodes and then the next day record 2 more episodes because somebody was going away for 2 weeks.
Nope. Never done that.
Nope. So we're pitching a TV show? I'm pitching a TV show.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna, I'm going to vamp, as they say.
You're going to repair some shoes while I pitch a TV show.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. So, I don't know if you've heard, Jacob, but Ridley Scott, along with recently releasing his latest film, The Last Duel, starring Adam Driver, Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon.
Heard it was shit.
I did not hear great things about that movie.
Jodie Comer's also in it. That's another person. Don't just tell me Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, right?
I couldn't remember her name. Adam Driver is in it. Adam Driver is doing the duel. It's Adam Driver and I think Matt Damon doing a duel, and Ben Affleck's watching.
And so is Jodie Comer.
Well, I think, yeah, I think they're dueling.
How do you not know
Jodie
Jodie Comer from Free Guy fame, obviously, where she... Free Guy?
I didn't see Free Guy.
Free Guy, the Ryan Reynolds movie where she falls in love with... Jodie Comer, a real person, falls in love with an NPC, Ryan Reynolds. Weird.
Yeah, but weirder things have happened. Like, people fall in love with, like, sex dolls and stuff in real life, so... You know, at least Ryan Reynolds' character can make full sentences. And isn't an inanimate object.
And looks like Ryan Reynolds.
And looks like Ryan Reynolds. And also has Captain America's shield. I've seen the bit. I saw that section.
Wow, way to just spoil things.
They got Chris Evans
this doesn't matter. What do you got here with your Ridley Scott reference?
Ridley Scott just announced that they are currently producing a Bladerunner TV show.
Oh.
And I saw that news and I thought to myself, well, I have an idea for a Bladerunner TV show. And I know just about the same amount about Blade Runner as Ridley Scott. So I will be making this Blade Runner TV show.
You won't be making it, you'll be talking about it. Nobody's going to make this shit. Nobody's
going to make it. Unless Blade Runner... I don't know why. I meant to say Ridley Scott. I meant to say Ridley Scott, but I said Blade Runner.
Yep.
Blade Runner, come pick this up. Be pretty good. It's Blade Runner 2029. That's the title. Or 2030, if you want to get away from, like, because all the Blade Runner years have ended in 9. You know? The first one took place in 2019. The latest one, Blade Runner 2049. Maybe we stick to the 9s. Maybe we don't.
Nah, you should make it like Blade Runner 1012. It's set in the past.
It's set in the past. It's cavemen, but there's also a guy with one of those fancy Blade Runner
1012. There's no cavemen in 1012.
So, this show focuses on an island off the coast of California that is being used as a replicant prison. That is also hosting.
Wait. The island outside of California, is it Alcatraz?
It might be. I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah, it can be. Why not?
I'm sure it's Alcatraz. Okay.
Yeah, it's Alcatraz, and the island of Alcatraz off the coast of California that is being used as a replicant prison and experimentation facility.
Oh.
Right. So you know how replicants in the original Blade Runner are not allowed to be on Earth, right? Replicants are they're not. If they're on Earth, that means the Blade Runner's job is to come down and shoot them, right?
Gotcha.
So, this place, this island, Alcatraz, is the only place in the United States that is allowed to have replicants, like, that are alive, quote-unquote alive. That's a big question, right? Like, besides production facilities, this is the only place replicants are allowed to be awake. And they're being used, you know, testing scientific experiments, trying to do the things that, you know, lead to all of the replicants in 2049. Right?
Oh, is it a prequel?
Yeah, it's well, you know, it's set beforehand, but it's not directly tied into all of the events.
Okay.
But maybe we can have a few characters show up, right? Like, wouldn't it be cool if we saw Dave Bautista? If Dave Bautista was there, and he was like, hey, it's me, Dave Bautista.
They build him. He was a replicant, right? I don't remember.
Yeah, he was a replicant. He put Ryan Gosling through that wall.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. So, on this island, they're trying to improve replicant tech, maybe make a replicant that can give birth, like the one that is a major plot point of 2049. And a small gang of prisoners is able to escape the island, right? And they make it onto the mainland, okay? So that's the basic setup. Our story follows Dexter Macante, Dex for short. He's a relatively new to the force Bladerunner, but he's a fast learner. He's brutal, effective, and willing to break moral and ethical boundaries in order to get the job done.
Okay.
He's a veteran of the wars they had in space. He's fought alongside and against replicants, and he's guilty of some horrific crimes, horrific things that he feels bad about, and has like PTSD about in the war. You know?
Okay. How old is he? Like 30s, 40s?
Yeah, he's in his 30s.
Okay.
He's you know, he's used to combat and violence, but he's not all that much of a detective yet. This story is about him like honing his detective skills, right?
Okay.
And all of the really horrible things he did in the war, all the war crimes he committed, were against replicants. So he's not liable legally for anything, but he still, like, you know, feels bad.
Maybe even he's like a hero in terms of Earth, you know, human eyes. And they gave him like medals and stuff, and these medals serve as a constant reminder of the awful things he did.
Yeah. And so, you know, maybe the story can surround him like he doesn't want to believe that replicants are alive, because if he did believe that, he would like be a monster in his own eyes. So maybe the whole story is him realizing that these beings are, you know, have a right to a life as much as anything else, and him having to come to terms with his own past as well as helping these people now.
Okay.
So that's really that's the setup. We have our guy Dex. He's called in to come to Alcatraz, investigate where the prisoners escaped from, get their files, do a few, you know, tests, and, you know, talk to the guards and stuff. And I have this as being a kind of a short series, you know, each episode's like an hour long. There's maybe like 5 to 7 episodes, right? And now I have a whole bunch of ideas for places and people he could meet while he's doing his investigation, right? So maybe he goes to Alcatraz, he meets all the prisoners, he meets all the guards and everything. He's kind of got a little bit of difficulty telling who's who. You know, he does the test. I forget, what's that test called that they do?
I don't know. I can't.
The one with the
Myers-Briggs test.
Where, yeah, he does the Myers-Briggs test. He finds out that all the replicants are INFJ or whatever, and they're like, yeah. So maybe he
the Voight
is like,
Kampf test. That's the name of it.
There you go, Voight Kampf. He does the Voight Kampf test. He does it.
Better.
It is a little bit better. Maybe we'll establish in universe that the test, what's it called again? Voight Kampf test comes from the Myers-Briggs Institute. So they came up with both.
Oh, that'd be funny.
And he maybe talks to the replicants in the prison. And he's like, "What's going on here? Is everything okay?" And he finds out that this is an experimentation facility as well as a prison.
Oh.
And so he's like, "Huh, that's a bit weird." But he, you know, doesn't have any evidence yet. He's just got he's got a hunch that something weird's going on, and some testimony from some robots, right? So he goes around. Maybe he charters like a private boat, and he, you know, drives around the island to see where they are. And I'm thinking he gets attacked by pirates, right? Because it's the future, and Blade Runner's kind of like a post-apocalyptic, almost future dystopia place. So you have like this gang of anti-technological pirates that are like living on the high seas.
Oh, you mean like wooden boat and everything?
Yeah, like wooden boat, flintlock pistol kind of pirates.
Wow, this is getting weird.
You know, or maybe not flintlock pistol, but they have like nothing they have is electronic. They're Amish, but they're also pirates.
Bringing it back to Amish from episode like 15. Anyway, you're pirates,
so,
real pirates.
You know, he gets
weird.
to the pirates. They're weird electronic anti-technology pirates. So they've got wooden boats and swords and like pistols, but they're not like, you know, flintlock pistols. They're maybe like semi-automatic.
So they assault,
you know,
our protagonist as he's driving around decks.
Yeah, he gets captured, and he's able to like talk his way out of it by like promising that he'll investigate something for them. But he also gains some information. Like, yeah, we were, you know, sailing around there on the night that prisoners escaped, and we just saw like a pod of dolphins, you know, swimming to shore, and we thought it was weird because there were dolphins way closer to, you know, the human civilization than we've ever seen them, or something. And that brings us to, we get a zoo, right?
What?
Because there's all sorts of replicant animals in the Blade Runner universe.
Yeah.
So, maybe underneath Alcatraz, they're doing all of the testing on the merging replicant animals and replicant humans together into this sort of monster animals, you know, or animals with human brains or whatever. So Dex is able to, you know, make his way into this replicant zoo that is underneath of the prison. And that's full of, like, elephants and lions, and maybe there's dinosaurs and shit, like animals that we've never seen in person.
Yeah.
But maybe some of them even have, like, human-level intelligences, or lived lives as like replicants,
and
then
just the
had their
consciousness like
consciousness
switched over. Yeah, that's interesting.
Switched over to like an elephant,
yeah,
or whatever. And he, you know, he gets
then
some.
The joke about
some,
elephants being smart is gonna be true because it's a human.
Yeah, with a big long memory.
Yep.
Maybe he can meet somebody in there, like a replicant from the same war that he fought in. That's like, you know, hates him because
that can kill them.
He was on the other side of the war crimes that he did, and so he's like, whatever, you know, I'm sorry, no, I'm not, you're a robot, or am I sorry, are you a robot, or are you alive, and, you know, that typical Blade Runner kind of stuff. And then I'm thinking, you know, I have a lot of cool ideas that that could exist in the Blade Runner universe, so I'm gonna just throw some your way, all right? And I'm gonna, you know, you can figure out how we
You let
get
me
there.
vamp.
I'm letting you vamp a little bit, so I'm thinking about technophiles, right? People who are not only obsessed with technology, they are obsessed and in love with technology.
Like Her, the movie.
Like Her.
Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, she played an iPhone. I don't know who that last person is. I just know Joaquin Phoenix because he's
don't know
Joker. I know Joker's my favorite movie of all time. Joker. I'm like Joker. You know Joker.
Sarcasm alarm's going off right now.
I'm like Joker.
I hate you.
I think Joker would have been a better movie if it was a musical.
I don't think Joaquin Phoenix can sing, even though he did that Johnny Cash movie where he was Johnny Cash and he definitely sang.
Yeah, he sang like Johnny Cash. He was amazing. Yeah, okay. Oh my god, if we gave Joker the Johnny Cash voice, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
But, technophile. So people who are obsessed with, you know, adding technological aspects to their own body and own physicality, but they're also
like robot
in
people.
love. They're like cyborg people, sort of,
people.
But yeah, robot people. We'll just say robot people. They're robot people.
I know they're cyborgs.
But they're also,
yes, they have like metal in their face and they're in love with the internet.
Yeah. They're in love with the internet, but they're maybe also in love. They're like, they don't like replicants, right? Because they're like, I think machinery is beautiful by itself. I don't think machinery should, you know, pretend to be a person.
Okay, here's an idea. Because that makes sense, but would it be interesting to have it so that they wish they were replicants?
Oh, that would be cool.
They're
too.
trying to become replicants.
Yeah, like they're, transforming themselves. Maybe even because, we don't exactly know the full extent of what the technology is capable of doing, the replicant technology. So maybe they're like living somewhere that we as normal 2021 people think would be completely inhospitable for a person to be living, but they, have altered themselves in such a way that they're able to breathe, oxygen that is poisoned, or they can, breathe water or whatever, So Dex has to, travel into a part of the country that has been absolutely destroyed by some sort of chemical warfare, because he's been told of this like secretive cult of technophiles that lives there. I'm thinking a little bit like Las Vegas in Blade Runner 2049, how it's a completely abandoned place that just Harrison Ford lives in, but it's like a weird like cult that he has to get information from, and maybe he finds one of the people, like one of the prisoners who escaped, hiding out among the technophiles, and they're being treated as kind of like not as a deity, but a little bit like they're being treated, as being greater than the members of the cult, or they could be like hooked up to shit, They're like the cult's like, we have to study the replicants in order to
become one,
become them or become more like them. So this prisoner thinks he's like going to escape to this group of people that like respect and care about him, but they're actually also just using him to get what they want. So he's like all stuck up, and maybe we could show a thing where he's like been taken in half and like only half of him is working, and you can see the inside of his head. That'd be cool. We get and maybe Dave Bautista's there. Dave Bautista's fun. We put Dave Bautista in every scene.
He's just in the background smiling.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's dressed like Drax.
He's invisible. He's eating those Doritos or whatever he was eating.
The space Doritos. Yeah. He's like yum yum yum. And then I'm thinking that Blade Runner has always been a very Earth-based series, even though there's tons of stuff that happens in space.
Yeah.
So maybe we could have a scene where Dex goes into like low orbit, right? Because I think it would be cool if we had like a drug den, like an opium den, but it's in low orbit.
I see.
So it's
not. They have like a little satellite thing. The satellite base.
But it's technically out of like jurisdiction of any government, but they're still doing like highly illegal drugs, and maybe
it could be like a drug like delivery service, because they're like in space, right? So they could drop like little drop pods with drugs in random spots. And that's why the government or whatever can't find them, because they're in orbit, so they have no idea where they are. And Dex finds it out. Goes up there because he needs information.
And he's like kicking somebody's ass. Because I think this could be a little bit more action-packed than a Blade Runner film. Because the Blade Runner films are often very slow and meticulous, and they're, very meditative. And I think we can have a lot of moments like that in our show. But also, it's a TV show, so it gives us a lot more time, a lot more area to play with. So, I would like to have Dex maybe fight a replicant lion. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be weird, because then if he punches or shoots it, and he rips off some fur, it's gonna be like robot parts beneath.
Yeah, and we can get it, because we've never really gotten a really good look at the mechanics of a replicant. I would like to see it, because I think we could do not just gears and shit like they always do in movies whenever something's revealed to be a robot. It's like sparking,
like a liquid.
Yeah, it could be like
some sort of metallic fluid.
partially organic. It's got blood, but the blood is also instead of human blood, which is less than 5% iron. It's this thing's blood is entirely made of iron, and it's not used to get oxygen. It's used to get something else.
Or you could just make up an element and say it's that for the purposes of the show.
For sci-fi, for science fiction. Yeah. And then our next little stop, our next place idea that I had was cloud AIs. So you know how there was like in 49, there were like these robots that were holograms, sort of, but they were, you know, not really. They weren't the same as replicants. Yeah. They didn't have the same level of intelligence, but they like looked and sounded like people. Maybe these could be like a initial version of that, where they are fully conscious like beings that exist, but they only exist within like a cloud of nanobots, and that is able to project a holographic person. That's like, what's up? How's it going?
No.
What's good? And so, you know, and maybe the technophiles are trying to get some of that technology because they want to, you know, figure out that thing. So they're like all in hiding. The cloud AIs are all in hiding. Or they could be considered highly illegal by the, you know, Earth government.
Because, you know, they could mess up technology and they can get in little small spaces because they're like little nanobots, so...
Yeah, they're, you know, they're able to go wherever they want.
Maybe they're limited in the sense they only have a certain amount of nanobots, right? So that's how you can defeat them, is that they don't have a lot of nanobots. Yeah. The government can really take them out if they just, you know, shoot some sort of weird electric gun at them or something.
Yeah, like a electromagnetic pulse gun, but it's also a taser.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
So it like looks like a taser when the AI reacts to it, but it's, you know, an EMP. We can explain it in
we'll get it. It's
scientific terms.
Yeah, but it, you know, I think it would be a cool place for these characters, because maybe replicants are like, I want to become a cloud AI, because there's just so much more freedom. You're able to hide way easier. You're not being chased your whole life. And the beings that are cloud AIs are like, why would you ever want to lose the sensation of touch or smell or, you know, taste? You know, you are given so much by your physicality that we don't have access to. It's insulting to us. So, you know, that could be something there where, you know, Dex is like trying to get information out of this cloud AI. And it's like, what are you going to do to me? I'm a fucking cloud. You can't hurt me. You can't threaten me.
Maybe he squashes one of the nanobots or something.
Yeah. He, you know, maybe it's like the hologram is being projected, and like Dex just like grabs it out of the air, grabs one little like bead and like holds it close, and you can see it. It's like the size of a grain of rice or something, and then he just crushes it in between his fingers, and you can see the hologram like flicker and like, don't do that.
Yeah, because he's like, I only have, you know, 1,000 or so of those, so it's very important that I keep all of them.
And then we can have the cloud AI lead Dex, or tell Dex about a replicant farm. It's off in maybe I'm thinking like Montana, or up north, where like the really, really exorbitantly wealthy live now, and in the Blade Runner universe, like Colorado or Montana, these huge compounds that just like the rich have access to, and be like, you know, whatever, it's just a, you know, rich industrialist. He's probably got horses or something. And then we find out Dex like is able to sneak on or convince them that he's like one of them and able to get on. And we find out it's a replicant hunting farm. Where they get all of these replicants together.
Most dangerous game kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, they get all these replicants, and they, you know, get this just like half a dozen ultra wealthy people, and like they give them a bunch of guns and stuff, and they're like, go wild. They don't have rights. Who gives a shit, right?
That can be interesting. So Dax can maybe it's like a party for aristocrats or something, and he like steals an invitation and sort of sneaks on, and then is like given a rifle and like, all right, you can get to go hunt these replicants now.
And maybe he's given a specific guide.
Yeah. Because why is he guiding that? Is he trying to find? Because didn't you say that replicants escaped the prison? That's why he was called there. So maybe one of the replicants that escaped, he tracked them all the way there, right? So first he tracked him to technophiles, and then, you know, technophiles were like, he ran off with the drug people, and then he ran to the drug people, and they're flying drug den. And then he went to, they're like, oh, well, yeah, he was here, and then he got captured by these weird aristocrat guys. Now he's there. So he's like, because we got to get, you know, we got to connect this thread, so I assume it could be following one like, of these escapees. Maybe the most important one. Maybe he's finding various members of the prison gang that escaped and retiring them. I put quotations around retiring because he's killing them, or he's letting them go, depending on what kind of character we want him to be. And it's like he's finding the guys who escaped, but he's not finding the mastermind. And maybe he needs to find the mastermind in order to, like, because maybe one of his jobs is, like, you have to figure out how he escaped. Not just, like, find out where he is, but, like, this prison is meant to be impenetrable, especially for replicants, because there's maybe a force field around it or something that, like, shuts down servos or something. I don't know. We can explain it later. And so he's like, you have to find the leader and get him to tell you how he escaped. So maybe he finds this leader. This leader has, like, been captured by these aristocrats and is being hunted. And maybe each of the aristocrats gets, like, here's the replicant you will be hunting. And he, like, you know, gets a picture, and it's not the leader, it's just some random replicant. So he's got to go find this replicant, and at the same time, like, to keep his cover, and at the same time, he has to also be on the lookout for the leader, and, like, hang out with the guy who's hunting the... Who maybe could be, like, fake chums like, with, you know? He's, like, trying to be friends with them because he wants to hang out while they look for the people. Yeah, and they're like, let's stick together, buddy. And then they're, you know, going out, and, you know, just as the rich aristocrat's about to, like, shoot the leader in the back, you know, our Dex hits him in the back of the head with the butt of his rifle, you know, unlocks the, you know, I don't know, collar or something, whatever's keeping them on the farm, and, like, it's like, hey, I stashed my car, you know, 2 clicks outside of the farm, let's go. And they start running, and it's like, because I think that this show should leave you, should be, like, morally, like, questioning, because he's like, okay, he's rescuing this guy, but he's rescuing this guy to take him back to prison, or kill him, and also he's leaving all these other guys to be hunted and killed by the rich, powerful, whatever. You know, so I think it should leave you with a lot of moral questions, like, is Dex really the hero? Or is he just another guy doing what he has to, or he thinks he has to survive? And, you know, the main guy, the mastermind behind the city, or behind the escape, you know, gets to the car, they get, you know, free, they escape, and he's like, alright, thanks, man. I don't know who you are, but I really appreciate it. And he's like, you know, Dex Machante, Bladerunner, and just as he says it, he pulls the gun out, and he's like, I've been tracking you for the last 3 weeks, and I have a few questions. You know, cut, episode ends, next episode starts, he's doing the Voight conf test just to make sure he got everything. In, like, an interrogation room or something. And he's trying to just, you know, figure out, like, how did you escape? And he's like, I'm not telling anything to any cops, man, no Blade Runners. And then he's like, listen, man, if you tell me what I want to know, I may be able to soften your deal a little bit. You know, doing the good cop, bad cop stuff. It's like, no way, man. And just as, like, you know, Dex goes out of the interrogation room and, you know, is, like, frustrated, but he's like, he feels for this guy. Because he's been in similar situations. Maybe we can have a flashback to the time Dex was a prisoner of war. And he's, like, you know, fighting with his captors and all this stuff. So he like, understands what this guy's going through, but he needs this information. And so, just as he's, like, doing that, and he's, like, frustrated, maybe he's talking with his partner, or an AI, or his boss, or something. The main guy, he escapes. He's, you know, he's out on the run, he's in the city, he's in LA, he's, you know, dodging and weaving,
and Dex is like tracking him, and he's right on his tail, and he chases him down, and he gets serious. He pushes him up against a wall. Maybe
on
the
rooftop.
Roof.
It's raining. Dex is hanging off the edge of a gargoyle, and when the person lifts him up and says, "It's all like tears in the rain."
It's raining, and we can have it and be like, this is like the ending, and then Dex is like, "No, I'm not gonna kill you. I've developed a conscience over this adventure, and I still need to know what your plan was. How did you get out? Where were you going?" And maybe he's got this technology that's able to like hack into the replicant and get him to tell him the truth or something, or maybe he just convinces him. Either or. So we find out that there is a hidden underground replicant city somewhere in the middle of the country.
Oh.
Right? It's made out of the old world train subways stations, So it's this huge sprawling underground city that's like underneath, like, I don't know. Name a city in the
that has a good
country.
subway. It's gonna be Chicago, I guess. It's gotta be Chicago.
Yeah, let's say it's Chicago. Chicago. It's like this huge sprawling underground city that's in Chicago. That's underneath Chicago, and maybe Chicago is destroyed. It's been annihilated. There's gas, and there's nothing alive is able to live in Chicago.
That's already the case today.
Except for these replicants. Oh shit. Haha. Jokes. We got them, folks. But we find out that there's this hidden replicant city, and that the leader of the gang, I really should have given him a name.
Brian
the leader
Wilson.
of the gang, Brian Wilson, was the initial escape attempt, and there's actually going to be a much bigger escape attempt that happens in a day or whatever. And Dex is the only one who knows about it, and Brian's been fatally shot. His name won't be Brian in the show. We'll come up with a cooler name for him. But Brian has been shot.
Balthazar.
And he's like, you have to... Balthazar has been shot, and he's like, you have to...
for short. BALT, I was thinking.
From the Inhumans.
Bolt.
No. I was thinking BLT.
Bolt.
We'll call him Baltimore.
Voldemort? Okay.
Yeah. Voldemort.
Ralph
We'll call him
Fiennes. Let's call him
Voldemort.
Voldemort.
Okay, Ralph.
That's who plays him anyway, so might as well just make it the same name.
Ralph Fiennes knows, says to Dex, you need to help them. You need to, help the hundreds of replicants that are being experimented on Alcatraz. There's, going to be a systems malfunction on Monday, and for 2 minutes, the entire, prison system is going to be shut down. You need to, help them escape in some way. And he's like, and then Ryan Reynolds, Ralph Fiennes dies, and it's like, should I help them? What should I do? But throughout this journey, he's realized that the difference between human and machine, man and machine, is so, at this point, insignificant that he feels it's his duty as somebody who once served the people of his planet. It is his duty to save
to atone for his past crimes. I see.
Yeah. So he gets in on the plan. He helps establish this huge prison break, and maybe he has a few of the people he's met along the way, like the Technophiles or the Cloud AIs.
Oh, they all help out.
Like maybe
big happy ending.
They don't need to all help out. Maybe
happy
like the Cloud
Avengers like final scene.
Yes.
They all come through big rings. Doctor Strange is there.
Yep.
It's great. Everyone loves it.
But it's a regular Bladerunner fight, so it's all in the woods. It's all in the rain, and they just.
I think every scene of this show should be raining in every scene, and it's also always night. It's never daytime.
Yeah, always night. And the day doesn't happen. But, we have this scene, and maybe the Cloud AI has, like, taken full control over, like, a prison transport ship so that they won't get, like, flagged or pulled over while they're flying. So, Dex, you know, gets all of these prisoners, he gets them onto the ship, and he gets the ship flying away. And, you know, he doesn't stay on, because not only can he not survive in Chicago, but he's got to hold them back. He's got to, you know, stop them from shooting that ship down, because they will. Yeah. They don't care. So I think that's how the show ends, with us just kind of believing or hoping that the replicants make it to the city, and that Dex's sacrifice is not all for naught. And maybe, you know how in Bladerunner lore there was one thing, like there was the power knockout that like knocked all electrical records off of the grid and made everything, you know, they had to go back to paper and stuff. I'm thinking maybe the people who did that who did the great like blackout were on the prison ship. Like Dex saves them from being eliminated, you know? So he, you know, it can tie into the greater universe, but it also, you know, doesn't take away anything from Dex's story.
I've got an idea for the last shot of the show. Right?
Yes.
So you have the ship take off, and Dex is behind, and he's like on like the dockyard or wherever you fly ships out of. And you can see like all the guards rushing towards the dock, and he's sitting there alone in the rain, big overcoat flowing.
Yeah.
And we have sort of like a close-up on his of his back and his revolver, or you know, the Bladerunner gun.
Yeah.
And he sort of, I imagine it's kind of like Harrison Ford's gun, but maybe with like a revolver chamber. Because I was thinking the final shot could be like him loading it and then flicking it, and as soon as he flicks it, so that the barrel goes into the gun and it's like ready to go, that's when you cut to credits. So we don't see the cool, you know, fight or whatever of him just dying, essentially. That's what it would be. You see like him prepping for it.
I think it would be like
credits created by the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast.
Pilots podcast. Yeah. I imagine the ending would be a lot like the ending of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, you want to show him getting shot a bunch?
So maybe he's... No,
that's what I was thinking also.
We don't need to show him getting shot.
I didn't want to show him getting shot a bunch.
Yeah, we don't have to show him getting shot a bunch, because also that would reveal if he was a replicant or not. And there's always, you know, every Blade Runner story, there has to be a conspiracy theory that the main character was a replicant. That's just part of it.
Well, Ryan Gosling was definitely a replicant.
Yeah, he was definitely a replicant.
Oh, but I guess it was, you know, throughout the thing, it was like, well, maybe he's actually human.
Maybe
he's a born replicant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then he wasn't. So.
He wasn't. He was just some fucking guy, which I liked. But you know.
Was cool. It was essentially what the end of The Last Jedi was, except good.
Yeah. 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 It was good. It was
like,
a good movie.
He's nobody.
Blade Runner is a good movie. Yeah. Remember when in Star Wars when they're like, you're nobody, you know, meaning that anyone can save the galaxy and it doesn't rely solely on your bloodline? Remember when that came out? And then the next movie was like, actually, it only matters who you're related to. That's all that matters. It was Palpatine.
You're a Palpatine.
You're a Palpatine. That's a terrible name, by the way. I thought that said, we've been going for like 55 minutes, and I thought the timer said 5 hours, and I was like, oh my god.
No, we couldn't do that. I would die physically.
Yeah.
I would deteriorate as a person from hunger.
And be sad for you, and I'd be like...
Like, wow, Charlie talked a lot. He talked so much that he killed Jake.
But yeah, maybe he flicks his revolver, we can see his hand, like, maybe his hand's reaching into a pistol he got from the pirates, and then it cuts.
Yeah.
And maybe, or we show his back, it's raining, he flicks the pistol, and then a whole bunch of, like, and as he's doing that, a whole bunch of red dots all line up on his back. You know, like guys with rifles have the laser sights.
I was thinking he's facing the enemy, though.
Okay.
And we're looking at his back, and we can see the crowd of people coming in, and we know he's looking at them.
Yeah. And he's being like, what's up? It's good. Yeah. All right. What song should play at the end? I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery.
It's probably not a song. It's probably, we probably got Hans Zimmer to make a soundtrack. Because Blade Runner is very orchestral, so
it is.
We'd have to stick with the lineage of having a very expensive orchestra do everything.
Yeah, a very expensive orchestra with a lot of synths. I'm gonna look up Android. Android.
Yeah, but Hans Zimmer will do it. Well,
Hans Zimmer.
We're buds, him and I. So.
How about we play Paranoid Android by Radiohead?
How about we don't? And
we don't.
We don't.
I just looked up Android on Spotify, and that was the first thing that came up.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your co-host, Jake, with always your host, Charles, who is looking at Radiohead songs. Don't forget to like and subscribe or something. That's what Charlie's usually says, but
if you like what
he's trying to say right now, but I'm speaking, so he can't.
Like, subscribe, follow, and tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell your dog. Tell your dad. Tell them all. Tell them all.
I always think it's weird when people like talk to their dog like it's a human.
Why?
I mean, you can say little things, but don't have like a conversation with your dog.
Okay.
There's a line, you know. You can be like, "Hey, how's it going? Good boy," or whatever. But don't be like, "What do you think about brutalism architecture?" That's weird. Don't do that.
Yeah, maybe that is a bit weird.
Your dog doesn't have a degree in art history. Talk about something more relevant, like the fall of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Dogs know all about that.
Dogs love the Roman Empire. You know what? You know what? This can be the end slate. This could be the little thing at the end. I read this thing the other day. It was like it was from the Roman Empire. It was like a dog grave. They had like a little plaque on their dog grave, and it was like, "I am sobbing as I bring you to your final resting place." And I was like, isn't that nice? They had dogs. They cared about their dogs back then. Because I don't know about you, but whenever I think about history, I think about just like, oh, it was a time before love existed. You know? Like, love, I feel love wasn't really a thing until maybe 1918.
What about the whole story of Troy, where the whole fucking war is about love?
The whole story is
Greek mythology is about people loving each other and then realizing that other people like the same people.
Or that it's your mom that you love.
No, it's like one or two stories.
Yeah. Alright. Goodbye, everyone. We love you. I love you. Jake doesn't love you.
I fucking hate you.
I know. My speaker.
I'm not even speaking to the listeners, I'm speaking to you, Charles.
I know.
But I hate them too, so it's alright.
Yeah, it's equal. Alright, talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.